welcome to the firm. On the show this week, why the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal has had no permanent precedent in over 2 years. And is 2 years imprisonment for Rajat Gupta too little or too much? Established in the 1940s, the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, or ITAT, is India's first tribunal. Over the decades, it has acquired a fairly solid reputation of efficiency and fairness. But that seems to be under threat due to events of the recent past. Now, we've already brought to you the story of alleged corruption and order fixing at the Kolkata ITAT. Today, we turn our attention to the post of ITAT President. The last 3 appointments have been temporary. Why is ITAT being denied a permanent precedent? And more importantly, is that undermining the tribunal's independence? Vaiswini Upadhyay does some sleuthing.
Last month, on September 1st, some of the ITAT Bar Association members received an unusual letter from a Bar Association official. The letter pointed out that for the last more than 2 years, the government has not appointed a regular and permanent president of the tribunal. The last 3 appointments were listed as evidence, and the letter also points out that G.E. Veerbhadrappa did not receive an extension. Last month's letter follows one written by the Mumbai ITAT Bar Association last year, listing similar concerns, and so we decided to investigate. 3rd June 2010, Bimal Gandhi retired as President of the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. On 4th June, R.V. Ishwar was appointed as officiating President. He continued till his elevation as Judge of Delhi High Court in October 2011. The next day, G.E. Veerbhadrappa was appointed again as officiating President. When his term ended on August 31st, Veerbhadrappa did not receive an extension. Instead, he went back to being Vice President.
It is unheard of. I don't think I have come across such a thing, but obviously it is the growing trend, as you see today, of independent senior bureaucrats being transferred. Now this is a question of demotion. How can you make a president again cancel his presidentship and then say you continue to be a vice president as you were, and then you promote another person to the office of a president? It's just not done. I mean, this is something which has to be taken note of very, very seriously, this type of trend, because if it's allowed to continue, I think there's a very bleak future for the judiciary in this country.
There is no official reason available for why Mr. Veerbhadrappa did not receive an extension, though he was due to retire only in July next year. But events just before he moved out make for an alarming story. On 7th May this year, G.E. Veerbhadrappa, then officiating President of the ITAT, received a letter from Diva Singh, a judicial member of the Kolkata Tribunal. Diva Singh wanted her 1-year transfer to the Delhi ITAT to be extended. Mr. Veerbhadrappa declined her request. Right after, he received a letter from the Law Ministry requesting him to facilitate Singh's transfer. Mr. Veerbhadrappa replied to the Law Ministry that her long-term transfer to Delhi would be a violation of the conflict rules laid down by the Supreme Court. In a 2004 case, the Supreme Court disallowed tribunal postings at a place where a member's parents or spouse practiced as an advocate. Since Singh's husband was a practicing advocate in Delhi, Mr. Veerbhadrappa noted that her continued posting to Delhi would be inappropriate. 3 months later, on 31st August, 1 year before his term was to end, G.E. Veerbhadrappa received a letter from the Law Ministry requesting him to hand over the charge of the officiating President's post to H.L. Karwa. Mr. Veerbhadrappa was moved to Vice President, Mumbai ITAT. Neither Mr. Veerbhadrappa nor Diva Singh nor the Law Ministry responded to our queries regarding this transfer incident. So we don't quite know why he didn't get an extension. But this would not have happened if he had been a permanent president, at least not without a valid cause. Right after G.E. Veerbhadrappa's demotion, the ITAT got a new president, H.L. Karwa, appointed as acting president. That makes it 2 years, 4 months of officiating presidents.
This is the first time in last 73 years the tribunal is not having a permanent president. According to our Bar Association, the government should have appointed permanent president as soon as our former president retired of some 3/6/2010. We feel that indirectly it is affecting the administration of justice, because as a officiating president he may not able to take certain bold decision which otherwise he would have taken.
Well, this concept of officiating president, in my opinion, is alien to the Income Tax Act. The Income Tax Act only talks about a president and vice presidents and members. I have not come across any word officiating president in the income tax law. I do not know whether there are some service rules, whether this concept of officiating president can be there. But officiating president, even if under service rules, under the income tax law, he is a president.
I believe that the man will not be able to act the way he wants to act if he is not sure about his position. And it may be that you might have a very ideal law minister, an ideal law secretary, and a very independent, upright and honest president. In that case, there may not be any conflict. But if there is one weak link somewhere, either the law minister or the law secretary or the president is weak and amenable, then the credibility of the institution will suffer.
Here's how the tribunal system works. The Departmental Promotion Committee, comprising a senior Supreme Court judge, the incumbent president of the tribunal and the law secretary, selects members. The government appoints president from among them. Once appointed, the ITAT president draws his powers from the Income Tax Act 1961. Two of the most important powers being the constitution of benches in the 27 jurisdictions where the tribunal exists, and the power to determine transfer and postings of tribunal members. In 1996, the government, for the first time, sought to interfere with these powers. It issued a notice that the ITAT president needs to submit all proposals for transfers and postings of members to the ministry for approval. A public interest litigation took the matter to the Supreme Court, and the Apex Court ruled that the central government cannot confer upon itself this statutory power.
Supreme Court has recognized that this is a quasi-judicial authority and it must have certain amount of independence in order that they can exercise their powers fearlessly. But at the same time, Supreme Court had laid down certain rules, how appointments is to be made, how transfers have to be effected. A man should not be transferred to a place where he was himself practicing or his relatives are practicing. All those precautions Supreme Court had taken. Ajay Gandhi's case is the right judgment which lays down some very guiding principles. And according to that, if they are followed, then the institution will certainly serve the purpose for which it was created.
The powers that eluded the government in 1996 are now at its disposal. Because while permanent presidents cannot be removed mid-term without valid cause, say a corruption charge or some such, when it comes to officiating presidents, the government has free run.
The officiating president has certain limitation. He always has a fear, suppose if he takes certain bold decision, somebody make the complaint to or some complaint he made to the ministry, possibly after 1 year, they may appoint some other person as officiating president. Like this may go on like this. So that is the reason it is definitely affecting. And apart from that, this being the institution where the revenue is involved, always the government is either the respondent or the petitioner. So therefore that independence has to be there. So therefore if there is no independence, then it will definitely affect the taxpayers as such.
And this is why ITAT Bar Association members are a concerned lot. Let me close by quoting from the same letter that I referred to in the beginning. It appears that the government continues to exercise its control over this highly important institution by appointing only acting presidents of the tribunal and change them as and when it pleases. This is a very serious issue and appears to be a blatant attempt on the part of the government to subjugate and undermine the independent functioning of the great institution of the tribunal. In Mumbai, by Upadhyay.
Well, the undermining of institutional independence, we're very good at that in India. Let's take a quick break. On the other side, is 2 years imprisonment for Rajat Gupta too little or too much?